American Pickers Frank Fritz's epic shading on Mike Wolfe. American Pickers' latest season has been dealing with plummeting ratings for its latest season ever since Frank Fritz was fired in 2020. Mike Wolfe and Frank were great friends before the latter's abrupt firing. The duo was a part of the series for 21 seasons after an alleged feud started between them. Ever since, the 56-year-old has been observed throwing shade on Mike. Keep reading to see the latest shade being thrown. Frank Fritz takes a jab at former American Pickers co-star. Back in July, the former American Pickers star was hospitalized after he suffered a stroke and was found by his friend. Now that the reality star is feeling better, he didn't let go of a chance to take a subtle jab at his former co-star and the network as well. Some of the merchandise in Frank Fritz finds was an indirect jab at the show American Pickers. The pictures of the merchandise for sale were obtained exclusively by The Sun. Frank was seen selling shirts with a quote that read, "I want Frank back." Not just that, he is also making a decent profit by selling pictures of himself alongside Mike from the time they shared the screen on the TV. Apart from this, other merchandise on sale in the store included antique piano, vintage motor oil cans, signs, "Why are American Pickers' ratings plummeting?" The network hasn't announced that Frank was fired, but he has been replaced by Robbie Wolfe. Given that Frank hasn't been on the show for quite some time now, fans have started boycotting the show, sending the ratings into a downward spiral. However, that isn't the only reason for the show to experience such a staggering decrease in the ratings. The show moved to a new time slot, which caused serious confusion among fans. The series has always aired at 9:00 p.m. ET on the History Channel. But the network failed to warn fans and moved to the 8:00 p.m. ET time slot. Mike Wolfe announces Frank Fritz's departure from American Pickers. Although the network hasn't confirmed anything on Frank's departure, American Pickers star Mike did chime in on the same. On July 21, 2022, the reality star took to Instagram to reveal that his co-star isn't a part of the show. In his statement, he said, "I have known Frank for as long as I can remember, and he's been like a brother to me." Further in the post, he confirmed, "I will miss Frank, just like all of you, and I pray for the very best and all good things for him on the next part of his journey." The post by Mike didn't go down well with Frank. He called it Bulls **T and alleged that someone else wrote it for him. Frank Fritz, the former co-host of American Pickers, has never been one to mince words. But in the wake of his fallout with Mike Wolfe, he's become even more candid. His departure from the hit show left a gap in the hearts of many fans, but it also left a brewing storm between the once close partners. Though it started as a subtle shading of his former friend and colleague, it soon evolved into an epic saga of public remarks, private frustrations, and a sense of betrayal that grew with time. The story begins when Frank took a break from American Pickers due to health issues, hoping to return once he was better. During his time off, he underwent surgery and focused on recovering from some long-standing personal challenges, including his struggles with alcohol. But while Frank was optimistic about making a comeback, the production team, and more importantly, Mike Wolfe, had other plans. Frank's absence soon became permanent. It wasn't long before the whispers of tension between him and Mike turned into full-blown rumors of a feud. Fans of the show started to notice something was off when Mike Wolfe, often viewed as the diplomatic leader of the pair, remained largely silent on Frank's status. Rather than give a clear answer about his friend's future on the show, Mike would simply offer vague statements, leaving fans guessing. This ambiguity didn't sit well with Frank, who felt abandoned by someone he considered a brother. "I didn't leave the show. I didn't quit," Frank said in one of his early interviews after his exit was made official. I finished my back surgery and my rehab and was ready to come back to work. But I got no call. Nothing. He paused before continuing. I thought we were closer than that. I thought Mike would fight for me, but he didn't. The fans' reactions were immediate. They flooded social media with support for Frank, many condemning Mike for what they saw as a betrayal. In the months that followed, Frank's public shading of Mike grew sharper. While he started off expressing hurt, it wasn't long before he began airing his grievances more openly. In an interview with The Sun, Frank didn't hold back. Mike's always been about the show, he said. He's not the guy he pretends to be on camera. Off camera, it's all about Mike. It's always been about Mike. The bitterness in Frank's voice was palpable. He went on to describe their relationship as one that had deteriorated long before he left the show, suggesting that Mike had always been more concerned with his own success than maintaining their friendship. Frank didn't stop there. He also criticized the direction American Pickers had taken in recent years, claiming that Mike's leadership was steering it away from its original roots. When we started, it was about the love of picking. It was about finding treasures and telling the stories of the people we met along the way, Frank said. Now it's just a TV show. It's about ratings, drama, and making Mike look like some kind of hero. That's not the show I signed up for. While Frank shaded Mike's character and his role on the show, he was also careful to acknowledge the good times they shared in the early years. There was a time when Mike and I were really close. We were partners in every sense of the word, Frank reflected. But as time went on, things changed. Fame changes people. Success changes people. Frank's words struck a chord with longtime fans of American Pickers, who had watched the two men crisscross the country together, hunting for antiques and bonding over their shared love of history. But Frank's most epic shading of Mike came when he opened up about the financial dynamics behind their partnership. I wasn't getting what I deserved, Frank revealed. Mike was always the face of the show, but I was just as much a part of it. I put in the same hours, the same work, but I wasn't getting the same recognition or the same paycheck. It wasn't fair, and I spoke up about it. That's when things really started to go south. The issue of money, Frank suggested, was the real reason behind his fallout with Mike. While Mike had continued to thrive, expanding his businesses and enjoying the spotlight, Frank felt left in the shadows, underappreciated and undervalued. It's not about the money itself, Frank clarified. It's about respect. It's about being treated as an equal partner. And that never happened. Mike Wolfe, for his part, largely remained quiet in the face of Frank's public shading. Though he issued a few carefully worded statements about wishing Frank well and hoping for his recovery, the warmth that had once defined their partnership was noticeably absent. In a social media post following Frank's official departure, Mike wrote, "I will miss Frank, just like all of you. I pray for the very best and all good things for him on the next part of his journey." The words, however, felt hollow to many, especially as Frank's shading intensified. The feud between the two men became a focal point for fans of American Pickers, with many choosing sides. Some stood by Frank, empathizing with his sense of betrayal and frustration, while others supported Mike, believing he was simply moving forward with the show in the best way he could. Frank's epic shading, though, was more than just a series of offhand comments. It was a window into the deep hurt he felt after being cut off from the show he helped build. He often spoke about the love he had for the fans and the joy he found in connecting with them through American Pickers. "The fans kept me going," Frank said in one of his final interviews on the subject. "They're the reason I did the show in the first place, and I hope they know I appreciate them. I never wanted to leave them." Frank Fritz's shading of Mike Wolfe may have seemed harsh to some, But to others, it was the rightful airing of grievances from a man who felt wronged. As the dust continues to settle on the fallout between the two, one thing remains clear. Their once epic partnership, which took them across the American heartland in search of hidden treasures, has now become a story of friendship lost, trust broken, and two men who have gone down very different paths.